Please welcome to the show for the first time, Carmenita Helligar. Hi, Carmenita. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm going through the pot withdrawal. I stopped smoking marijuana 3 weeks ago, and I'm really feeling it. But now it's legal. Ha ha ha! And that's when I quit.
I know what you feel. I feel it too, and I just stopped smoking like 5 minutes ago.
Why would you choose to do that before I come on your show, Jimmy?
You know what?
I'm feeling picked on.
There's no explaining it. There's no explaining it. So now you are running. So to be my state assembly person, and so what are you actually? What makes you want to run, and what are your big issues?
So I went up to Sacramento to see a swearing in of a new senator, and I looked around and realized from just conversations that they were having there that we have a supermajority of Democrats in California, and we have had the majority since 1996. Yet we do not have universal health care. We do not have universal child care. We do not have, our unions are being busted. Oil is still fracking and doing all these things. And so my anger started at that moment. And I was like, I'm going to run for state assembly. Like, enough is enough.
So you're saying what I've been saying at this show is that if you want to see what a state looks like when it has Democrats completely controlling everything, go to California. Please don't look around. But because if you look around, you're going to see that's what happens. They are just as beholden to big donor money, to corporations. You know, the first thing Gavin Newsom did when he got elected governor was he started approving fracking permits, and he said we had a $40 billion surplus, but we still have homeless people under every bridge, and people still don't have health care. They still can't afford it, and so. Let me ask you this. So if you see the corruption of the Democratic Party, which you do, that it doesn't matter that if you get all Democrats, it's a uniparty, Republican you're running inside the Democratic Party, correct?
I am running in there because I believe in the ideals. And the thing about it is I don't have the privilege to stand back. I have people who call me all the time. I have my needs for my family. We have things like 60 years left of topsoil to grow food, right? We have this climate crisis. And I am going in there to change the party and also to bring light on a lot of things. From the outside, being a talking head, like that's not going to work for me. I'm not going to change anything. On the inside, though, that's where you can change and be held accountable and hold other people accountable. But it is a huge machine that I'm against. Right now, they have their chosen one that has all of the money. They have, all of the support. They have the endorsements. It's just this machine that I did not realize I would be up against. I thought that someone like myself, who is really well known in their community, has shown their community what they can do as far as activism. I sit on as the chair of the library board. We have social workers now in our library here. We have our jobs resource center in our library now. We have a Spark lab that we put in, which has 3D printers so people can come and start businesses. And we even have a podcast studio in our library because our libraries are our last free space. And so and my ideal is that we have to start making sure that this Democratic Party stands up for what it is. Mine is grassroots. I'm, asking for donations, doing these things, and I'm up against this machine of it's unbelievable. It's not until you start running that you realize, like, oh, people don't know that March 5th, 2024 is the primary. If I don't make it through the primary, then you're going to end up with the same people in November on your November ballot. And then when you look at your ballot, you're like, how do we keep ending up with the same exact people?
So how So if I was your advisor, I would advise you to run independent because we have a special system here in California. So there isn't a Democratic primary and there isn't a Republican primary. There's a primary for everybody. And so then the two top vote getters then face off in the general. So what is the advantage for you to run inside the Democratic Party? Because what I've said is trying to reform the Democratic Party from the inside out. It's like trying to join the mafia so you can reform it from the inside out. It's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. You look what happened just recently with the Justice Democrats, Katie Porter, AOC, that they all immediately rolled over to the establishment, and now they lie about activists, especially me, a healthcare activist. So what advantages? There doesn't seem to be any advantage to you running inside the Democratic Party from my point of view. So why wouldn't you so what do you say to that?
I say this, that I make a commitment that when I wake up in the morning, I'm Carmenita Helligar. When I lay down at night, I'm Carmenita Helligar. So I've been in other situations that have tested my, tested my gangster. I'm okay with going inside of something and changing it or bringing light to it. I don't need to run as an independent when I truly believe in what the platform is. We have to start making them stand on what they do and what they have said and be the people and help the people that they say they're going to do. You know, like I said, I don't have that privilege to not get in there and not stand up for people. Right now, in the supermajority, we have thousands of legislative bills that come out automatically. And it's supposed to be we the people. They tell the assembly member what they need, and then they go to Sacramento and say, this is what my people need. And lately, it's been Sacramento comes, tells us, and then the assembly member tells us, this is what's happening to you. And that's what we're going to have to start changing. It's going to be really hard for people to stand next to someone like me that is integrity filled, that talks to people. My phone rings all the time. I listen to people. I make actual change and not do the same thing.
So what would
me standing next to someone else that hasn't been for years, haven't been backing, certain bills, like that has to be brought to the light. That can't keep going that way.
So what would be the first bill that you would try to introduce if you got elected?
I am really for healthcare. And this is my quick story, about 13 years ago, I was given 6 months to live. I've always been a small business owner and I didn't have healthcare. And so working your way through that is absolutely ridiculous. My husband, I have children. It was a horrific thing to go through. And so I fought to stay here and stay on this planet. I'm going to go there and fight again to make sure that happens. Healthcare, that includes mental health as well. Like it's just so
So what would the bill say? What would the bill do that you would introduce? How would it affect me here in the 44th district?
Well, we need single payer, and you would
introduce a single payer bill?
Yes.
Now,
we need that.
Now, Anthony Rendon, who used to be the speaker, and everybody runs on single payer healthcare, and then as soon as they get in power, they don't know how to do it. Right. And so, but you wouldn't go back on your word right now. You would say,
I can't, because I've gone through that. There are real people to have small children and someone say, sorry, you have 6 months to live. That is not something I can go back on. That is it's so heart-wrenching, but it's also why I have that fight. And also, universal child care. New Mexico has it. Why doesn't an economy that's the 5th in the world have universal child care and dependent care? Seriously?
Why do you
think?
We
can't do it in California?
Why do you think we don't have it?
Because it would empower women. Women are the biggest caretakers. If you gave them child care, they can make other decisions. Even though men, they do watch their children, but we're the child care workers. We're the ones who take care of children. We're also the ones that you have to look at dependent care. especially my generation. We're taking care of our aging parents and we're taking care of our young children. I watch on Monday and Tuesday, I watch my grandson so his mom can go to work and my son can go to his second job. Really? Like that's what we're doing.
So why
in 2023?
And so you think so so I hear you saying that the Democratic Party in California is sexist? Is that why they won't do it?
I don't know if they are sexist. I will say that the considerations for what women can do and have and be and live to their fullest potential is not first on their list.
Why is that, you think? Why can Arizona or New Mexico, you say New Mexico has it? So why can New Mexico pull this off, but California? Really, what is the real? It sounds like you don't want to tell me what the real thing is. So why can they have it in New Mexico, but we can't have it here?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
I am not sure because they keep putting out bills. Some things are vetoed. They keep putting out bills and it's just a little bit. Then they say we don't have enough money for hire more healthcare, childcare workers. It's this whole back and forth.
Okay.
So I don't know how many people there that are in our assembly that are making these laws are in my situation where I'm watching my grandson, love him to death, Monday and Tuesday afternoons. Like I keep telling people we need an us up there. We don't need any more politicians. We need someone that's gone through things, has the experience, and going to go in there and say, this is what an us is.
Okay.
This is how you change it.
Kurt, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm being texted by a woman watching this, and she said, it's the fact that women have to work because inflation in housing is so bad, you cannot raise a family on a single income. That's the main issue.
Right.
But,
yeah.
It ain't good for the men neither, put it that way.
Yeah. So let me just quick, would you be for, okay, so you're for the minimum wage, you're for universal health care, you're for, hey, you know what? Let me ask you this question before we let you go. In California, they passed a law that outlawed gas-powered leaf blowers and lawnmowers. But guess what they didn't outlaw? They didn't outlaw private jets. Isn't that funny? So they think they're fighting climate change. What they're really doing is making it more expensive for small businesses to have landscaping businesses. So now we're going to have bigger companies being able to afford that stuff because that's way more expensive. So I can fly from San Diego to San Francisco in my private jet and buy a battery-powered leaf blower, and I can pretend I'm doing something for climate. So that's all garbage, right? Would you agree that that's all garbage legislation, that doesn't really fight climate change? Because if they really wanted to fight climate change, the number one emitter of carbon is the U.S. military. Nobody ever talks about closing down military bases. Nobody ever talks about reining in the military, and nobody ever talks about getting rid of private jets, right? So would you agree that that's a kind of a garbage legislation?
I think a lot of it is garbage. I think I say this all the time, and this is my main quote that I live by, that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. So I sit here and look at every decision I make. What am I taking away from my children and my grandchildren? That is the same thing when they were saying we have to not use straws, which, okay, you don't use straws, but then you allow fishermen to have these huge plastic nets and stuff that's left in the ocean, right? You don't outlaw those things. You say the same thing when, if we want to really change the world, like I said earlier, we have 60 years left of topsoil. Those are the things we need to really be pouring into. We just got a bunch of money, billions of dollars from the federal government for our climate crisis. Let's see how they're going to use that with what? Do we have accountability in there?
I'm gonna guess whale killing windmills.
I'm gonna guess they're gonna put it into whale killing windmills. That's exactly right. Or they'll probably make you buy more masks because nothing ended up more in the ocean than masks, right? So masks, and nobody wants it to. Greta Thunberg doesn't want to talk about all the masks that ended up in the ocean, and way more than the straws. So just billions of masks ended up.
Kept China's economy going a little longer.
That's
from
right.
All the masks we bought.
All the masks we bought. So. Anyways, Carmenita Helligar is a candidate for California State Assembly District 44. That's my district. That's why I'm having her on. I wanted her to let her get her message out. Thanks for coming on. Any parting words you have for the audience?
That the primaries are important. Pay attention. Don't settle for what the Democratic Party is putting out and saying who you should vote for. Do your research. Find out about candidates like myself. Help me get through and raise money, if you like what I've said, to really give me a fighting chance to have a difference in Sacramento.
Well, telling people to do their own research,
Yeah.
I thought we learned during COVID that you're not supposed to do that.
That's racist.
That's
well,
racist.
I'm saying do your own research. Look at these people. Don't just wait for mailers and things like that. March 5th is a deciding thing on who gets on your November ballot. And that is where you're supposed to go make your voice heard so you can have an actual different outcome.
Okay, Carmenita Helligar, thank you so much for coming on, and good
Thanks,
luck in your
Jimmy.
race. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Hey, we're doing stand-up comedy in Covina, California, Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving, Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, lots of places in the Southland. Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to be in Omaha. We're going to be in Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington. Plus, we're going to be in Boston, the Wilbur Theater in Boston. See you there.